What is going on, people? It's Matt from Liquid Loans, back again for another live stream. Happy Monday. Hope everyone watching had a great weekend and you're having a good start to the week. I'm joined by my partner in crime, the Galaxy Brain, Jesse the Pit Boss. So with no further ado, let me bring him up.
Hello, everyone.
Coming at us from the moon again by the looks of it.
That's right.
How you doing?
Good.
All good in the hood. So today I thought we'd jump on and talk about the loan token. Obviously, there's a lot of talk about the loan token. Is it a trading token? Is it a staking token? What are the main things you should do with it? And I just want to touch on, the biggest things for me when looking at the loan token are how it's the fee generating token. So maybe we can start off with that, Jesse. What do you think about that?
Yep. So you got to consider the loan token like kind of like a share, and it's a share of the fees that come in through the protocol. There's two fees. One is when somebody takes a loan, they're actually minting themselves some USDL, but a little bit of that USDL goes to the stakers of the loan token. And then on the other side of that, people who redeem USDL for $1 worth of Pulse, a little bit of that Pulse gets shaved off, and that also goes to the stakers. Now, typically, as a staker of the loan token, you'll actually be collecting more USDL than Pulse. And the reason for that is because it's normally cheaper for people to just take their USDL and swap it. Go buy some Hex with it. Go buy some Pulse with it. Go buy some PulseX. Do whatever you're going to do in the blockchain with your USDL through the DEXs. But there are times, especially in severe volatility, where direct redemptions will increase in volume. So people can always redeem $1 worth of Pulse a USDL for $1 worth of Pulse. And there's a fee to do that. And that comes out in Pulse, and that goes to the stakers. But it's not as much, or as often rather, as the USDL that's going to be flowing to the stakers. Now, it's a staking token. It's specifically designed to be staked for those fees. And some people are familiar with the term T-share, right? A T-share entitles you to a share of like Hex, for example. When people are early end stake, like you're always collecting more Hex by owning the share, right? Now, a loan token does the exact same thing, but it's earning you a share of Pulse, and it's earning you a share of USDL whenever somebody takes a loan against their Pulse. You can imagine that the value of this token may follow the value of Pulse. When Pulse goes up in value, loan token goes up in value. When Pulse goes down in value, loan token goes down in value. And the reason for that is people's loans will get bigger and bigger and bigger as the value of Pulse goes up. So if somebody's taken a loan and they've collateralized some Pulse, but then their Pulse goes way up in value, that person is now heavily over collateralized. So what you tend to see happen is their loan just gets bigger. They just say, well, now I'm in a position where I'm so over collateralized, let me mint myself some more USDL. So they mint them some USDL, and then a portion of that goes to the stakers. So it's kind of cool because as the value of Pulse grows on the PulseChain, you'll actually see more and more and more USDL come into existence. And then as the value of Pulse goes down, you'll actually see people start paying back their loans, and you'll see USDL total supply start shrinking. And it'll kind of be a direct reflection of the performance of Pulse itself, right? If Pulse goes up in value, you'll see more USDL in existence. As Pulse goes down, you'll see less USDL in existence. But the fees from all this always feed straight over to the stakers of the protocol. Now, what does that look like for potential returns of those that stake? It's really interesting because let's say you get in early on a share, okay, and the share happens to be called the loan token, and the value at which you got it, your psychological value, or if you waited and bought it on the open market or something, let's say it was really cheap. Let's just throw a number out there. Let's just say it was 10 cents. For you, maybe you got in at like 10 cents. Okay. Now, let's say Pulse does 100x. Let's say loan tokens this ecosystem is kind of following along. And let's say the loan token does 100x as well. Okay. So now it costs $10 for a single loan token. So you, as a staker who got in early, who might have a lot of these things, only had to pay 10 cents a piece for them. Somebody who comes in later who wants the same USDL volume of fees coming to them would have to pay $10 for the same amount of USDL collection daily that you got for 100 times less, right? You paid 100 times less than a later participant. You're collecting 100 times more of the fees than them, okay? And if Pulse just goes up and up and up, and you could really moon math this all day long. If Pulse did a 10,000x, for example, there's a real potential. You got in on this staking token and are collecting 10,000 times the fees as a later participant who came in with the same dollar value. And it never expires. There's no time limit. You stake these things, you put them in, you stake them for as long as you want. If you feel the need to unstake for whatever reason and hold it liquid and not be earning free money, which doesn't make any sense, you are welcome to do that. You're also even welcome to go sell it on a DEX if you'd rather do that. But you have to consider, let's say it runs up in price, it's following along with Pulse, and you say, wow, I just did 100x on this thing. Let me go sell it. Would you rather sell it for some quick gains, or would you rather have 100 times the fees for all of eternity for the rest of time and pass that wallet address down from generation to generation with ever increasing fees for the rest of your life and then other people's lives, or as long as the blockchain's alive, right? Like, would you kill the golden goose by selling it? If it literally is just shoving into your account endless USDL every time somebody takes a loan out? Probably not. Now, this entire system is very, very healthy for the PulseChain ecosystem. And the reason why is because since it's the community of stakers and users of Pulse, okay, so you're using Pulse, you're not selling your Pulse. That's one reason why it's healthy for the ecosystem. Two, one, you're convincing people to lock it up and never sell their Pulse. Okay, that's very, very good for price action of Pulse. What else happens here? You have the fees that go to the users and believers in Pulse. Okay, what will those people typically do with their USDL that they're collecting, or their Pulse that they're collecting? Well, they're probably going to buy more Pulse with the fees that they're earning, or maybe they'll go buy some Hex or some PulseX or something like that. It keeps the money and the fees inside of our own community. Instead of putting the fees, instead of it being a centralized party and all the fees leave the community, it keeps the fees inside of the community. So it's an endless loop of us just continuing to buy the things that we like to buy, which happens to be our own community stuff, right? Pulse, PulseX, Hex, it's some more of these loan tokens, whatever the case may be. All right. It's extremely healthy for the ecosystem, and all of it is price positive.
Yeah, the loan token, I mean, Jexxa has done some great modeling around it, but people should do and can do whatever they want. But if you've got the delay gratification long-term mindset that you should do if you've been around this community for a while, you'll know that why would you kill something that is the golden goose, like a T-share, or like the loan token, which is kind of like the eternity T-share with no lockup period? And the more volume that comes in through Pulse and the more people that use the protocol and the more successful it is, the more fees that are going to be generated. And if you're in that loan staking pool, you're going to be collecting those fees.
Right.
There's a good
Now,
question here.
let me discuss this a couple of things real quick. So right now, we have, let's see here, 1,571 unique wallets that have sacrificed for their political statement. What is that political statement? Well, it's an act of free speech. Like-minded community members may show their disapproval or rejection of corporate-owned, censorable, centralized stablecoins by sacrificing them in the hopes that a different community-owned trustless algorithmic stablecoin protocol will emerge on the PulseChain. 1,571 people so far. We're what, 2.5 days in? We've got $7.2 million worth of sacrifice, for this statement. People that believe that there is a better way than centralized parties just taking money away from our community. Keep all this value inside of our community so we can all pump each other's bags. Now, we're just getting started. We're 2.5 days in. There's a 10-day flat rate. It's only going to keep going up and up and up and up and up as people stand up and say, we're tired of the centralized system out there. 1,500 people, 2.5 days in. I'd like to compare us to the parent protocol that's been forked. They have about 1,300 users. Average annual return with a sideways ETH price, 1,300 users, very little marketing or poor marketing. They don't have very many videos explaining how the protocol works. So there's a lot of people just don't know how it works. 209% return annually. Now, we're starting on a brand new blockchain with a launch price of 0 for Pulse that hopefully will go up and to the right. We will have magnitudes more people using this protocol than the parent protocol, magnitudes more fees going to the stakers inside of this protocol, better marketing, better educational tools, better website, better everything. And it's not going to stop. We will continue to educate people and continue to grow. So when you compare the metrics of what people are returning by staking over there, you have to reason and say, we're likely to do much, much better over on the PulseChain because the PulseChain is just simply a better network.
I mean, yeah, like you said, we're just getting started, and the Liquid Loans team has definitely looked at what's worked and what hasn't worked in regards to the parent protocol Liquidity and obviously the forks and other chains. And we're doing stuff that no one's ever done. Look how fast our YouTube's growing, the Telegram's growing. So there's no question of whether it's going to work and whether it's going to run flawlessly and be a success. There's a great question here though. Let's play devil's advocate and discuss what could realistically be a real roadblock to the Liquid Loan success. What would you say to that?
Well, PulseChain needs to launch. PulseChain needs to be a success. That's a fact, right? Because the underlying collateral inside of this protocol is Pulse. So, we believe in Pulse, right? We wouldn't all be here if we didn't believe in Pulse. We believe that Pulse will be a flying success. Many, many X's. Everyone's bags are going to get pumped. Richard Hart designed it that way, right? By largest airdrop in the world, faster, cheaper, better blockchain. Okay. So that's why this protocol is being launched on the PulseChain. So we do believe in it. But if Pulse fails, if it does something like the Nano blockchain, where it runs up like 1,300x in 2 days and then crashes all the way down towards 0 and stays there for years, that would be a roadblock to the success of this. Absolutely. If the underlying collateral just goes down and down and down forever, more and more people will just continue. That's a sign that people are literally selling their Pulse and leaving the blockchain. So if Pulse just goes down in value, people are leaving the blockchain. People will also be leaving this protocol. Now, we can only hope that this chain is built correctly, which we believe it is, and it will go up and to the right. There's many, many other blockchains that have done very well. You've got Matic, who did a 450x. You've got Binance, who did an 800x. Cardano, 9 or 1200x or 12,000 or something ridiculous. Phantom Chain, 60x. AVAX Chain, whatever it's at.
Solana.
That might be an 80x or something. Solana. And they all have their little issues. They all have their little problems. And you do hear from our community, oh, that's a ghost chain, or you do hear all these things. But you look at the numbers they did, and it actually shows, wow, it actually did very well. It ran up in price. Now, PulseChain is built much better than all these other blockchains. So if those other blockchains are averaging 250x in 1 to 2 years, what can Pulse itself do in 1 to 2 years? If it is in fact better than all the others, which we believe it is. Is it going to hit a 250x? Is it going to hit a 1000x, a 10,000x? We don't know. Nobody has a crystal ball. But we do know that Richard Hart designed it right. It's faster, cheaper. It's got all these free tokens that lure people over so that they can come and conduct trade on the blockchain. We can see a ton of volume. People swapping. A lot of that's going to be swapping into Pulse. Pulse is going to be pumping. And it should do extremely well. It should do better than those other blockchains. So that being said, liquid loans, which uses that as collateral, will also be a flying success.
What about this question? Do you have a calculator for the longer pays better and better works? And when does the time start? At Sacrifice, at Pulse launch, or at Liquid Loans launch? That's going to be when the protocol launches.
So it will start at the Liquid Loans launch, and the calculator is simple. It's a 6% bonus for each month that you decide to lock. Okay, so if you lock for 1 month, you get a 6% bonus on your points. If you lock for 6 months, you get a 36. 12 months, what is that? 72. Okay, and if you lock for 24 months, you actually that equates to a 2.5x on your points. And you can ladder. You can ladder it out. You can say, well, I want to do ascend and have it unlock immediately. That's cool. Don't put anything after the decimal. You can say, well, I want to have some unlock on month 3. So you do ascend of stablecoins .03. Okay. And that specifies you want those points associated locked up for 3 months, and you'll get an 18% bonus on those points. It will also release on month 3. Now, they're all where they're supposed to be on day 1. Everything's smart contracted, right? Because everything has to launch at 0 value at the beginning. So it's actually attached to your self-custody wallet on day 1. It's just inside of a smart contract to unlock at the points that you specified.
Yeah, just to reiterate that, make sure that you're either choosing, like Jesse said, between 1 and 24. Anything over 24 will be null and void, and then that will just release on day 1. JC asks, will there be an option to remove a set amount of loan from a staked amount, or will unstaking remove all of your stake?
You can unstake as much as you would like.
Easy. How often can we claim USDL on Pulse when we stake the loan token? Can you please explain the exact logistics of the protocol?
How often can we claim the USDL? You can claim it at any instant in time. So every time somebody takes a loan, you're going to see your claimable balance spike. Next person takes a loan, you're going to see it spike a little more. Anytime that you wish, you can go and you can hit that button, and you can claim that into your wallet. Now, somebody said, let's leave PulseX out of this. PulseX is its own beast with staking rewards that is coming. I'm not going to leave it out of it, because we will have people that will be earning USDL all of the time. What will they be spending that on? We're encouraging people to keep that in our ecosystem, whether that's inside of Liquid Loans, put it in the stability pool, or go buy some Hex, go buy some Pulse, or go buy some more PulseX with it. right? This is our community, and we want to pump our own bags, right? With the projects that are built around our own community. The USDL's got to go somewhere. Now, people can just hold it liquid, just keep earning USDL and just keeping it liquid in their wallet. But if you believe in any of these other projects, such as PulseX, why would you not take your USDL that you're earning and go buy some more of that?
The answer to this question is yes, that is correct. To get if you wanted fiat from the loan after getting the USDL from the vault, we'd swap USDL for ETH or anything that you can bridge over, and then bridge it to Ethereum and then send it straight to your exchange. That is correct. Ravi says, just to clarify, guys, will we also be getting staking rewards in Pulse and USDL token just like other DeFi protocols, or is it only fees that we'll be getting by staking the loan token?
Okay, so this is an interesting question. I'm glad you asked. Most staking protocols have an inflationary mechanism. So you stake a specific token, and then that token just mints more and more and more of itself. And then you have to sell that token to extract any of that appreciated or that inflation value. Okay. Loan token is unique. It does not inflate. It has a fixed supply because we don't want people dumping it. We want the value to follow right along with the rest of the network. Okay. So instead, you stake it and you're earning the fees from people locking up their Pulse. It is a fee generating token. It is not inflationary like some other staking protocols.
I like this one. We have we have fans that are worried about your health when you go when you go to Vegas. So don't worry, we'll make sure everything is safe. Okay.
That is funny.
Am I getting my points immediately? Is it possible to lock up these points after they're airdropped to me, or is my only option staking? So you have the locking up method where we've talked about where you can put a decimal on the end, and as Jesse said, that's 6% every month. If you lock up all the way for 24 months, that's the maximum amount of time you can lock up. You can get up to a 2.5x on your coin count.
Somebody asked, so claiming USDL and PulseX, or excuse me, claiming USDL and Pulse that you're earning from staking will not result in an unstake of the loan. No, it will not.
So basically, you'll just go in there and you'll click claim. If you've ever used Pancake Swap or you're staking the cake token, that's what you do. You'd go in there and you'd see how much cake has accrued, and then you could just add that to your wallet for a gas fee. When choosing a lockup period, will we at the same time miss the early staking period? Yeah, you have to choose one
so
or the
you
other.
actually will. It's a trade-off. And I kind of talked about this at the beginning of the show here. Let me elaborate. You have two choices, right? You can either lock or not lock. Let's say you don't lock, and you think that, well, I could have locked and got a 2.5x on my coins, but I'd rather earn the fees right away. I can get those coins later. If the price of the loan token just runs away from you, let's just pretend it does 100x, and you could have got a 2.5x. You'll never be able to get the economic energy to go buy the tokens that you could have just got on day one by delaying your gratification, right? It would have required 250 times the economic energy to go collect the same quantity of tokens that you could have got from just selecting a 2-year lock at the beginning. So just because you're earning the fees doesn't mean that you'll ever be able to turn those fees you're earning into trying to get a large quantity of loan tokens. Listen, it's got a fixed supply. You can earn some in the stability pool, but the rate just goes down and down and down forever. The rate at which you can earn them. Plus, there's more and more participants coming into the protocol, constantly diluting you from earning new ones. So your only other option is to buy them on the open market. But if the value of Pulse is going up and the value of loan tokens going right up with it, good luck. Good luck ever trying to capture the quantity of coins that you could have acquired simply by doing a lock. Right? It will become financially impossible for you. It is exactly like a t-shirt that never expires.
Yeah, and like Jesse said, you can go to the open market and buy it, or you could provide stability, but nothing is going to be as rewarding than sacrificing and possibly being airdropped tokens that don't have any value at the beginning. Will the price of the loan token increase just like PulseX? Nobody has.
Markets will decide.
Yeah, the market will decide. No one has a crystal ball.
What we can reasonably guess is that it will follow whatever Pulse is doing, because people's loans get bigger as the price of Pulse goes up, which means more fees are going over to the stakers as the price of Pulse, the value of Pulse goes up, which in turn just makes the token more valuable to have because it's paying out bigger and bigger fees. So it's all literally tied back to its underlying collateral, which is Pulse. Separate animal than PulseX. And we can only hope that Pulse goes up in price.
I mean, we're in a new era of crypto now. I mean, hopefully you guys watching this, have the same mindset, where we're gone are the days where, especially for people that are involved in PulseChain and liquid loans and Hex, where it's like, oh, we're going to buy something and just hope, it has a picture of a dog, therefore it's going to go to the moon. Let's be realistic. You want to get into projects that has staking protocols or ways in DeFi projects where you can get yield, right? It's providing stability, staking the loan token. So listen, it'll be great if the price goes to the moon, but really this is more of a long-term hold where you're going to collect fees. I'm sure most people will use like that. Some won't, but obviously you need to do what's right for you.
Somebody else says, thank you for the clarification. So lockup will beat the rewards for sure. So just for clarity, however, on the other side of this is there is value in coming out on day one or month 1 or month 2 or month 3, because you're earning the fees early. And you can take those fees and go, there's now opportunity cost, or maybe you can jump into Pulse more with those fees. Or maybe you think Hex or something is at a low price. Now you can dive into Hex, or whatever you decide early on and catch the price appreciation of these other things. However, if your goal is to have the biggest quantity of fees coming to you for eternity, you might want to consider locking.
Yep. I mean, getting that coin count up, as we always say, getting into a good project protocol and increasing your coin count instead of selling yourself down and eroding yourself should be the goal for most people. Charity says, staking Pulse with liquid loans or with Pulse itself. Would you agree to do it with liquid loans? You don't stake your Pulse with liquid loans. You use your Pulse as collateral in a smart contract, right. And then
I know what it means, though. So put your Pulse in as collateral, take a loan, right? That's what you could do with liquid loans, so you don't ever have to sell it. You could take your USDL from your loan, and you can go stability provide with that, and then you can also stake with your own loan tokens. Okay, so there's a whole ecosystem here in liquid loans where, yes, you could be earning off of what you've done with your Pulse. Compared to, well, what if you just stake with a validator on the network? What will those rewards look like? Well, we need people to do that. We need to secure the network. Liquid Loans has a validator. If you choose not to participate in taking a loan, and you don't like free money from staking, and you don't like free coins from being a stability provider, you can instead just sit on your Pulse. We encourage you to delegate with the Liquid Loans validator. And go onto our Telegram and you can see the details for our delegator. You'll see that the percentage that goes back to the community is much, much higher than many of the other validators. There's some validators that are simply ripping people off. Now, what will it look like though? What will those returns look like? Nobody knows, right? Because the fees are just so small at the beginning that like we just don't know. It might not even be profitable for for a period of time. We don't know yet. It's going to start out small, and then as Pulse grows in value, the fees will grow in value, which means delegating should theoretically get more and more and more profitable over time. But I encourage you to look through the list of validators, find the liquid loans one, and look what the payout for delegating with the liquid loans validator looks like.
LS says, when we stake our loan token, is it like Hex where we need to set a time, and will I be penalized if we unstake early? Nope, there's no time lock on staking the loan token. So you can stake it and unstake it whenever you want. Obviously, the more that you're in the staking pool, the more rewards you're going to get, but there's no time lock. And also it's different to staking Hex. When you stake Hex, you earn more Hex. When you stake the loan token, you don't earn any more loan token. You earn the fees in the system. So the USDL from people opening loans and Pulse from people redeeming their Pulse for USDL. Akeem asks, what will I get for points? You may or may not get airdropped a free token that will have 0 value at the time of airdrop.
That's correct. You're sacrificing for a political statement. Now, the only address that we know to look at, and obviously something has to happen with the protocol on day one, the only addresses that we even know to even look at are those that have aligned their political beliefs, right?
That is true. Crypto is amazing asks, hello, and thank you for all you do. If I use someone's affiliate link, I will get a 5% bonus if I sacrifice more than $500. Yes, that's correct. 500 at once, or can I split it up into 2 or 3 smaller sacrifices? Doesn't matter. You can sacrifice 1,000,000 times. It doesn't matter how many times you sacrifice. It matters that the total amount that you sacrifice from one wallet address. Mr. A asks, how much % of USDL on Pulse would a 1 million loan stake fetch us? Your best guess? That's completely unknowable. We'd have to see what's going on with the system, how many people are using the system, and vice versa. So there's no way that we could put any predictions on how much percentage or how much Pulse or USDL you'd get from that. Why do you think this will be a 100x coin? I don't see any difference to any other loan service.
Okay. So they're all very, very different. For example, Aave, you can lend. You can be a lender, right? You deposit into a pool and they give you a measly 1.5% annually. Last I checked, crypto goes up and down by 10 to 15% daily. Who gives a crap about 1.5% a year by being a lender of a token over an Aave? Now, on the other side of that, you could be a borrower in Aave and they'll charge you 18% all the way up to like 30 some percent to be a borrower. Okay. It's ridiculous. It rapes the community. It takes all the money away from the community and nobody wins. It's ridiculous. Okay. Now in this protocol, it literally gives you the option to take your coins that you don't want to sell, lock them up and never sell them, extract some value in the form of your own loan that you made for yourself, avoid taxes, and go do other things with that capital. This is way different than any other protocol. I encourage you to watch any of our videos.
100%. Crypto Freedom asks, what do you think the yield when staking the loan will be? Again, we don't know that. That's unknowable until the system goes live. And so if I stake the loan, can I mint Pulse or USDL? No. Staking the loan token allows you to collect the fees in the system. You're not minting anything off that. You can mint yourself USDL if you bring Pulse into the system, you create a vault, and then off that, you can mint it and decide your own collateral ratio. But staking the loan token doesn't allow you to mint USDL Pulse. It allows you to collect USDL and Pulse from the fees in the system.
All right, so let me respond to this guy, and we're going to hide him from channel.
Which one?
Bosco Buha.
Okay, let me hide him.
There you go.
Done. Yeah.
Exploiting the community? No. You don't know us. I invite anybody to go to our Telegram, learn who we are, watch our videos. Yeah, certainly don't question my integrity. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have got a lot of opinions, and I find that all the time these people are just ignorant. They haven't done their research, right? So they hear the word loan and there's bad semantics around that, loan or debt or something. This is the complete opposite of a loan. When you go to the bank and you ask for a loan and they give you an uncollateralized loan, if you don't pay that loan back, yeah, you're going to be in trouble. Here, you're over collateralized, right? So the whole system of liquid loans is over collateralized compared to the banking system, which is fractionally reserved. So this is much, not only is DeFi sweeping in and taking legacy finance's lunch, but it's doing it in a more stable and a much more honest way because there's more collateral in the system.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm gonna, this guy kind of pissed me off a little bit. So I will say something. The alternative, what's his name? I don't know. What's it? Buha. The alternative is, as the price goes up, everyone's going to be dumping on your head. And you're probably going to be dumping on our head. All right. You're going to be dumping your own price, taking a bunch of slippage, having a 36% capital gain stacks. When alternatively, you never had to sell. Okay. It's ridiculous. There are other ways to extract value without ever selling. And I'm going to go through the math one more time to get it through your thick skull. When you don't sell and you keep your coins, you accumulate so much value, it's insane. If I started with $20,000 and I was a seller, and every time the price doubled, I sold half my bag, I could do that 10 times in a row and I'd only have $220,000 and I'd have 150 grand after I paid taxes. That's all I'd have after 10 doublings of the coin. All right. And what did I just do to my coin count? Every time I sold, I got less and less and less and less. And I watched my coin count shrink the entire time. Now, if I just held those coins, as we're taught, as we have been told for years and years and years in this community, what is the most valuable way to accumulate wealth? Hold on to something and never sell it. Time value of money. We've heard this a million times. Get it through your skull. If you don't sell and you hold the coins, as the value goes up through those 10 doublings, 20 grand turns into $20,480,000 because you decided you didn't want to sell them. That is why you take loans out behind your appreciating value instead of dumping your own coins on everyone's heads.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, you get people who are ignorant and they're just coming in here just saying this and saying that, and they haven't read the white paper. But if you really want to go deep, and which we suggest, number one, no one's trying to wreck anyone and no one's trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. Everything is on the website. The whole team is doxed, the founders, all the team, the white paper's there. Read all that stuff. And then if you have any legitimate questions, jump into our Telegram group or come on here. But just don't start sprouting off, advice or opinions which you have no backing or
Listen,
no truth.
This is what the wealthiest people in the world do. Listen, look at any of the top wallets. Typically, they hold and accumulate more and more and more and more coins. And guess what? They're using lending protocols. They use Celsius. They use Aave. They use Liquidity. They use Compound. They use Maker. And all they do is accumulate more and more and more until they turn into the people that you believe in, like the God Whale, like Richard, because all they do is hold on and never sell. Now, if you're a pleb and you get a quick little gain and you just want to dump on your own head, cool. This protocol is for people that are smarter than that.
This guy asks, I'm going to read the docs, but can you cover the backing of the USDL? USDL was backed.
It's backed.
Algorithmically.
It's 100. It's fully backed and redeemable for $1 for the pulse. All right, so it does that a couple ways. So you have more value in collateral than you have in USDL, and then in the dexes you'll see that USDL is trading at $1, right? But the markets move everything. Markets even move stable coins. So there's times where stable coins are worth 97 cents. And what's cool is people just buy it back up to $1. They change the ratios, buy it back up to $1. Why? Because they're guaranteed they can come back in the protocol through an arbitrage event. They just buy it up, take the USDL, and they're guaranteed to be able to get $1 worth of pulse from the protocol. Every single one of them is backed.
This guy says, say I do a loan with 1,500 Pulse and it's $1 US, so 1,000 USDL, which you can't do because the minimum loan would be 2,000 USDL. But let's just go along with this. And now Pulse goes up to $10. Now, for me to pay back my loan, would I have to pay back 10x in USDL because of the Pulse rise? No, absolutely not. You pay
Any
back what you
appreciated
borrowed.
value, anything up and over what you took out as a loan, plus there's a little 10% buffer that just hangs out there just in case. But like if you had like $1 million worth of Pulse in your vault and you had taken a $2,000 loan, guess what? Like all of that $1 million except for $2,200 worth is yours to withdraw at any time or to mint additional stable coins against.
Absolutely. So you only pay back what you borrowed. Here's a good one. What's the founder percentage of liquid? Well, A, no expectations of the work of others. So
yeah, so people always ask this, right? And for some reason they think in crypto it's different than anywhere else. Like you don't go around to like people at some random companies and organizations and say, "Hey, what's your salary? Hey, what's your salary? Hey, how much are you making?" Like it would be rude. And most like human resources departments, like if you start at like they don't even allow those discussions to be had in their companies. So it's really no different in crypto. And like a lot of people are in crypto for being anonymous. So like I don't know why that question comes up as much,
yeah,
it's
I'm not sure
irrelevant.
why in crypto or on Twitter people think they can just start asking about what's in your bank account. What are your bags about? It's like you'd never do that in the real world, and I don't know why. Well, I guess people are online; they get brave, right? But nobody owes you anything, and if you don't like a protocol, then I say first go away and do your own research, and then if you really don't like it, then maybe sit this one out. The 2.x when you delay for 24 months is fixed regardless. Jesus, guys, some of your English is fixed regardless of the amount being locked. Like everyone will get the same multiplier. Yes. So everyone gets 6% a month until the last month if they lock for 24 months. You guys are doing great. We need all the protocols we can get. Sad about all the FUD. What is the minimum loan amount? Well, thank you, Tom. The minimum loan amount is 2,000 US. So the minimum amount of collateral you'd have to deposit is 2,200, and that would give you 110% collateral ratio. We don't advise that because if the market moves against you, then you can be up for liquidation. So having a safe collateral ratio, 300, 400, 500, even 1,000% or even up of that is what's advised. But the minimum amount is 2,000 US to take a loan. And if you were going to 1,000% collateralize that, then that would be $20,000 as collateral.
Do you see Matt's question, Matt O'Neill?
Where's that?
He says, I understand stability providers earn Pulse in liquidation events. But if they also earn loan tokens, where do they come from? All right. So when the protocol launches, there's a pool that will actually contain some loan tokens. Those are emitted or released to the stability depositors throughout the duration of that year. Half of the supply inside that pool actually is emitted to the stability depositors in that year. And then in year 2, it goes through a halving where it looks at what the supply is left and half of the remaining supply gets distributed to the stability depositors throughout the second year, through every single day, every hour, every minute, every second. So literally you'll see these loan tokens like just coming into your account. And at the annual mark, they're coming into your account half the speed that they were before. And then every year it slows down and it's even less and less and less. But you have to combine that with the fact that there's more and more participants coming in over time. So like the emission, like if you're the first guy in the stability pool and like you're the only one in there for a day or something, you're going to get a ton of tokens, I guess. But there's going to be people piling in behind you because they want a piece of that. They want a piece of that action of that loan token. So it goes through halvings. There is a fixed supply of the loan tokens. However, there is a stability pool, release reward pool, right? That gets released to the stability depositors over time. There's also another pool for liquidity providers too, to incentivize liquidity providers to go add liquidity for USDL and pair it against Pulse, pair it against Hex. There's other protocols that are going to be pairing USDL on their own with their own tokens. You'll find some fiat off ramps. Eventually, there's people already talking about building fiat off ramps with USDL. But there's a couple pools that are release reward pools that go to the stability providers and liquidity providers.
Kimbo asks, what will the supply of the loan token be? We won't know that until the sacrifice phase is over and we're about to launch. Here's another question. How are the fees generated for stakers if there's no fee to take out a loan? There is a fee to take out a loan. I think this guy's got confused with 0% interest and 0 fees. So when you open a new vault, there's going to be a 0.5, so a 0.5, 0.5% to 5% fee, depending on the health of the system. Most of the time, that's going to be a low 0.5% fee. And then that fee goes to the loan stakers. So there is a fee. Now that changes depending on what's going on with the system. Thanks. Is there an algorithm for the amount based on sacrifice? I'm not sure what you mean by that. What if all loan... Okay, here's another imaginary horrible. What if all loan tokens run out of supply in the stability pool? Can you talk us through the supply math of why it won't?
Yeah. So that's fun, actually. So first off, that is you have to understand that's a black swan event. That's an imaginary horrible, right? But we'll go through it because it's fun. Why is it imaginary horrible? Because if there was nobody in the stability pool, there's going to be one guy that says, holy moly, look at the emission rate of those loan tokens. If I jump into that pool and I'm getting tons and tons of these loan tokens by being the only guy in there. Okay. So that's one reason why it would never happen. But if it did, because mathematically it could, it's interesting because what happens if if a vault is under collateralized, it's down by 110% and it gets liquidated? Normally, the Pulse would go to the stability depositors who then burn their little piece of each of their USDL is burned, to cover the loan. So if there's nobody in the stability pool, what happens next? It's interesting. The Pulse would actually get distributed to all the existing borrowers, and all the existing borrowers' debt would go up just a little bit, and everybody comes out net positive 10%. It's an interesting mechanism, right? Because everyone would acquire more Pulse, but they'd also acquire less debt, and they come out net positive. And they can choose if they want to, whatever they want. They're net positive. They can go sell, they can draw out more loan, whatever they want to do, right? But that is an imaginary horrible that will be true for the first 5 seconds of the protocol. But then people are going to pile into that pool.
Of course. When there's yield to be had and money to be made, there will be people participating. Trust me. How much is expected APY from the start of staking loan token versus 24-month 2.x extra bonus? Again, these are unknown. So we know 1 is a known multiplier, 2.5 if you lock up for 24 months. Expected APY, we won't know that until the protocol is running and participants are using the system.
Alan, who is this? Alan asks, will you be making a video? Yeah, actually, go to Jexxa. Go to Jexxa's videos. He has all the walkthroughs on how this thing works, how to use the protocol step by step. His YouTube channel, and he's a core member of our team, by the way. You can a little bit more deep. Go to Jexxa, Jexxa -hexsafe HEX.
What's the video?
SARE.
What's the video? I'll put it in the chat now.
He has tons. He has
Oh,
like
okay.
separate videos for each part of this protocol.
Okay.
How do you take a loan? How do you put stuff in the stability pool? How do you do this? How do you do that?
Yeah. Let me share this whole. I'm going to put it in there now. So I'm about to post that in. I've just posted that into the chat, and that's the playlist for Jexxa. That's behind the scenes, and that just shows you how everything is working. Okay, what about this one? How does the staking work in practice? Sort same as hex. Sort same as hex by connecting MetaMask to Liquid Loans platform. Yes, so it's a DApp. Okay, this guy says, I know how it works. Thank you, but I want to refer anyone who keeps asking questions. I'm trying to onboard people and not all of them are as sharp. Okay, so send them to our YouTube channel. We have a 4-minute explainer video, which is super simple, and it shows you how to use the system. And also, actually, while we're here talking, let me add something else quickly. So if anyone has any issue about how things work, I'd say show them the flowchart ecosystem. So see that there? That's a really, really basic breakdown of how things work, right? So we start here with our wallet. We deposit Pulse into the vault. We mint ourselves some USDL stablecoin. We can either take that out to an exchange, change it into fiat, buy the Lambo, buy the house, buy the car, or deposit it into the stability pool. Being a stability pool provider, you're going to earn loan token as an incentive and also some Pulse from the liquidated vaults. You can then stake that loan token or sell it and then earn USDL and Pulse from the fees if you're a staker. So this flowchart system is really easy. It's simple. It's clear. And maybe for people that need some help, you could talk them through that. Let's just remove that. Any questions there you can see, Jesse? How about this, guys? Let's say I want to participate in the stability pool and put in 500K. Where do I buy the USDL worth of 500K?
PulseX. Or, I mean, you could collateralize some Pulse and print yourself 500K worth of USDL. Or you could just go to PulseX. I wouldn't take 500K in the first 5 seconds of the protocol, right? Let that build up because we're incentivizing liquidity providing, right? And that's going to come from people who collateralize Pulse, mint some USDL, and then they go add it to the liquidity pools. So if you got 500K, unless you want some slippage, right? Just give it a little bit of time, give it a day or two, and then just go buy it off of the DEX.
Cool. Okay, looks like we've got through the questions. We've been rolling for an hour now, so I think we'll wrap it up there. Anything else, Jesse, that you really want to touch on before we wrap it up?
Thank you, J Bros.
Jesse, truly appreciate you guys building on Pulse. I'm a long-time holder of Hex, also into Pulse and PulseX, and now Liquid Loans. I'm so happy we have a great use to allow me to hold my Pulse. Exactamundo. Actually, a few more questions coming in. Can you please talk about listing USDL with exchanges, or exactly how we can on-ramp and off-ramp without touching the Ethereum chain?
Yep. So we're talking to exchanges, right? But that's promises, right? That's down. Of course, every coin that ever launches wants to be on exchanges. We're no exception to that. It's just like any other PRC20, though. You can simply swap it for something that's bridgeable. So you just swap it for Pulse, for example. And if Pulse is bridgeable, I've heard that there's going to be many bridges, right? Richard's got his bridge he's building. I've heard like 5 different bridges are launching, some of which are going to other blockchains. So if you don't like Ethereum chain, you can just go through a bridge to AVAX chain, for example, and then pick up that AVAX and send it to Coinbase or wherever you need to and sell it for fiat. It's going to be swappable just like any other PRC20. That usually leads to it. That usually, excuse me, that usually leads to a tax question. Well, if I swap it, doesn't that become taxable? Sure, but it's like value for like value, right? you didn't actually have any gains. If you swapped $100 worth of USDL for $100 worth of Pulse, where's your gains? And then you went through a bridge and you got $100 worth of AVAX. Where's your gains? There's still no gains. Just a follow-on question that normally comes.
Okay. Last one we're going to talk about, and many people keep asking this, what's better, locking up for 24 months or staking straight away? I'll answer this again. You have a known multiplier versus an unknown multiplier. So it might be better to lock up for 24 months. It might be better to stake from day one. Up to you. You have to do your own research and see what you want to do in your life.
Will there be a lot of slippage? Well, like the first 10 minutes of the protocol, if there's only like 10 grand in there, sure. However, it quickly corrects itself because people come back and they buy that price up immediately because it's always redeemable for dollars for the Pulse directly inside of the protocol. So it's kind of interesting because technically you don't actually need any dexes. Like you could get you could take your USDL and like, what are you going to do with it? You could, like, the whole point of getting it is so you can swap it and go spend it and do other things with it, right? But technically you don't need that. And you minted USDL against Pulse, and you can come back to the protocol and get Pulse for your USDL, $1 worth of Pulse for each of your USDL. That mechanism ends up stocking the liquidity pools because the constant arbitrage, you're going to see those liquidity pools grow, and you're going to see those the slippage get less and less and less.
What are the sack points? Are they the loan token? You may or may not get dropped some loan token for your sack points. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up there, guys. Jesse, they're calling for it. They're calling for it, man. Every time we say we're not going to do it, and the fans want it. And also, shout out to this guy. Yeah, give me a break, guys. Please write some check the spelling and grammar before you post. Okay, here we go.
Here, I'll turn it. I'll sing it in a higher pitch than I normally do. I'm never selling, no. I'm never letting my Pulse go. I'm holding out forever. Yeah, I'm taking a loan. 0 interest, yeah. No keys, oh. Amazing wealth creation in the liquid loan seeds. I'm never selling, no. I'm never letting my Pulse go. I'm holding out forever. Yeah, I'm taking a loan.
Guys, where do you get entertainment like that on the internet? You get knowledge dropped on you about crypto, DeFi, and then you get someone as handsome as Jesse. All the fans are obviously calling for encore all the time. So if you like that video, guys, hit the like button, the share button, the subscribe button, all that good stuff. If you have any questions on the liquid loans protocol or the sacrifice phase, do head over to t.me/liquid loans, where our superstar mods and admins are there answering your questions 24/7. And you can also head over to thesacrifice.io, where you can get all the information on the sacrifice phase, which is now live. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you on the next one. Have a great Monday. Peace.